to school.
The Back to School program has brought hope to these young mothers.
NTV News. News that moves you.
Just move to the next level with My Network. We invite you for a career fair to be held on 17th and 18th January 2020 at KICC from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The theme is Careers for the Future. Please join. Interact with career guides, industry experts to be won. Entry is absolutely free. For more information, call 0707-871-918 or email projects@ke.nationmedia.com. See you there.
Your multi-bet is only trying to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Babe, come tuoshe vyombo.
Okay.
Babe, cheki, wacha niende hivi na come.
The only thing you can be sure of is your rate on Airtel. With 1 bob, una get 5 MBs and 2 bob per minute to all networks. No expiry, no conditions. Dial *544*2#. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Look at this. And this. So this? Why is this so? The culture of good driving and road safety starts with attending the right driving school and receiving the right driving instructions. Now you know. AA Kenya.
Register today for your driving classes. Dial *650#.
For 100 years now, AA has walked with you throughout the journey. Automobile Association of Kenya. You never drive alone.
Good evening. We're halfway through the longest month of the year, that is January, but it's just the top of the best bulletin in town. This is what's coming up.
Tonight, the Building Bridges initiative that continues to divide and polarize.
Na hakuna mtu atatoka kwa nyumba yake. Watu wanakana show you for free. Atafunguliwa baada ya hii mkutano kuisha.
We are still going to be luminous, which means we'll be there, notwithstanding the action.
I'll continue making noise until everything is addressed.
Plus, death toll of the 14 Riverside terror attack rises by 1 a year later.
Naona kama will not make it. After 1 hour kaanza kupass out.
The story of the heroic nurse who recently succumbed to her injuries. Also tonight, government's efforts to disrupt the milk sector with better prices for farmers.
Waanze kununulia wakulima kwa shilingi 33.
And Judiciary once again accused of mishandling Mwingi girl's custody case as father appeals order.
The best interest of this child is to be considered.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai.
Thank you for joining us on NTV Tonight. My co-presenter in sign language is one and only David Agondoa. To our top story, political showdown looms in Western Kenya this weekend as organizers of a BBI meeting in Bulletin Stadium vow to block another meeting from taking place in Mumias. In the meantime, the organizers of the Mumias meeting have insisted they will go ahead with their meeting despite the threats and an order allegedly from the police cancelling their planned gathering. NTV's political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi starts us off with the day's politics. I'm told that package inaleta siasa and will be ready in a bit, but there has been a bit of kerfuffle over the tours that are being taken around the country in the name of the BBI and campaigns to help people learn more about what is in that BBI report. But some say it is just a campaign for 2022. And my director now tells me Kennedy Mureithe's package is ready.
The political temperatures in Western Kenya are set to hit a crescendo this weekend, with political rivalry between allies of Deputy President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga expected to play out in the open. One of the meetings to be graced by Odinga and attended by all the governors from the region will be at Bulletin Stadium and is christened a Building Bridges Initiative Report Grassroots Sensitization Meeting. Chief among the organizers, Central Organization of Trade Union Secretary General Francis Atwoli.
Kama hutaki power, don't come on Saturday.
The other meeting to be held at the Nabongo Stadium in Mumias is said to address farmers' plight and is expected to start with a visit to the ailing Mumias Sugar Company. This meeting is being organized by Deputy President William Ruto's allies and supporters of Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi and Ford Kenya leader Moses Wetangula. There is a letter from the office commanding Mumias Police Station allegedly cancelling the meeting. No reason is given.
If the permit is denied, we are still going to be in Mumias, which means we'll be there, notwithstanding the action. And the reason I think, and the reason that we'll be there is because we are actually focused on the issues that were core to the BBI.
For someone to have picked on the 18th, he must have realized that these leaders had already planned for a meeting for Mumias on the 18th. Therefore, coming into direct collision to what our interests were.
For free. Atafunguliwa baada ya hii mkutano kuisha. Unafikiria waduya watakubali wewe uende uharibu mkutano yao? Hawezi. Bibi yako kwanza ndiye atakalisha wewe chini.
Mimi kama senator sitaruhusu mkutano wao ufanyike. Mkutano ni moja na mkutano ni Bulletin Stadium. Kama hao ni wanaume watoke nje ya nyumba zao waende kwa hiyo mkutano, ndio tutakutana nao.
But as the Saturday meetings kick off a storm in advance, another is boiling in Murang'a, with Kandara MP Alice Wahome increasingly finding it hard to hold meetings in her constituency. Today, 22 youth were arrested by police for disrupting a meeting she had organized, accusing her of undermining the president.
Mimi sio gakonia, mimi sio msaliti, mimi sio mtu wa uongo, mimi ni mtu wa kuongea yale ametayarisha mwenyewe.
In Nakuru, Senator Susan Kihika and Nakuru Town
agitated, and we saw yesterday that that has been addressed, then I'll continue making noise until everything is addressed, because really that's my work.
Ruto allied MPs have decried the government's treatment, accusing it of openly harassing them, but they insist they will not stop campaigning for him. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV.
To what some might consider the latest episode of our local version of House of Cards, what was going through the president's mind when he moved Monica Juma from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, for example, to the Ministry of Defense? And what informs his decision to replace her with Rachel Omamo? Are there political considerations, or is it rewarding of loyalty? Or are his decisions based strictly on merit? NTV's Olive Burrows takes a critical look at what it takes to occupy a cabinet post.
Love brewed in an African port. Coming off the high of winning the 2013 general election, sleeves rolled up, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto were ready to get down to the business of governing. And so it was that they unveiled their dream team, technocrats who would help them deliver on their electoral promises in the shortest time possible.
Our first nominee is Dr. Fred Okengo Matiang'i.
Technocrats who would help them deliver on their electoral promises in the shortest time possible.
A lot of cabinet secretaries were no more than senior civil servants, and in a sense they were bullied around by parliament. They sort of waited for instructions from the president. They did not have their own capacity to be able to withstand the political pressure that comes from that level.
2 years ago, election losers made their way back into cabinet with the appointment of Mwangi Kiunjuri, John Munez, Peter Munya and Rashid Echesa. 6 years into his presidency, and the youthful optimism has faded. At the end of the day, the president made clear on Tuesday it comes down to brass tacks.
The ones I haven't mentioned are because they are either in place. If they are not in place, then so be it. Kenya moves on.
I don't know that there's anybody who's been sent home only because, because obviously there were challenges. The Minister of Agriculture, there is no question, there are challenges there. The Minister for Finance, because of the other people who have been sent home, is in court, charged with criminal offenses. So one cannot say it's only just about politics.
What then does the president consider when recruiting and firing cabinet secretaries? And with the calling up of Mutahi Kagwe and Betty Maina as substitutes, are they political considerations or are the decisions taken on merit?
Even if you're going to harvest from where your vote basket is, give us someone who's competent, someone who's capable. Some of the clowns who have found their way into cabinet in the past are unfortunate.
What of the decision to reassign a CS? In the case of the super CS, Fred Matiang'i, the decision may have been performance-based. But what is less apparent is the decision, for instance, to move a career diplomat into the Ministry of Sports. A legacy at stake, and with less than 3 years left on his contract with the Kenyan people, the sands of time are shifting fast. Question is, does President Kenyatta finally have a team in place, pacers, that will set the time for him to enable him cross the finish line in glory? Olive Burrows, NTV.
It is exactly 1 year since terror set foot at the 14 Riverside complex in Nairobi, taking down with it innocent Kenyans and scarring many others. The Al-Shabaab terrorists took hold of the different buildings in the complex, leaving many in the dark spaces of fear, uncertainty, and, in a positive twist, brotherhood. After hours of gunshots, blasts, and evacuation of hostages, the enemy was defeated. The nation was watching and collectively celebrated when the terrorists were killed amid the sorrowful mood the country was in. The death toll, of course, of the civilians stood at 21 then, but has now risen to 22, following the demise of Noel Kidaliza Amudavi, a nurse who succumbed to her injuries last week. She was shot 3 times in the stomach as she tried to save a patient. NTV's Brenda Wanga reports on the brave fight that Noel put up and her family's extreme pain of loss.
The images of a mother and a wife stare out at you in different parts of this house. Her smile welcomes you, but her physical absence is tangible. Those gathered are planning for her funeral. This is the home that Bernard Amudavi Kisanya shared with his wife Noel Kidaliza, now deceased. Noel succumbed to injuries she suffered exactly a year ago during the terror attack at the 14 Riverside complex in Nairobi.
Siku ya alitoka asubuhi akaenda kazini vizuri kama kawaida, akasema acha niende kazini.
It was a day that will change this family forever. Noel, a nurse at the Dusit D2 hotel, had nearly made it out of the building in the midst of the attack, but her nurse instinct and heart would not let her leave a patient behind.
Akaambia wenzake turudi tuchukue Beatrice. Bata wakakataa, ni kama sio kukataa, ni kuogopa, hawakukataa. Wakaogopa, yeye akasema acha mimi niende. Sasa sana anakuja naye mbio. Hawa tu. Huyu akatokea terrorist, akatokea akaanza kuwashuta, wakamshoot 3 bullets kwa tumbo na moja ikapita hivi, so akaanguka kwa maua, but Beatrice walimmalizia hapo.
She survived that shooting, but would spend the next 3 months in hospital, giving her family hope that she would live. But that hope was short-lived.
Sasa mimi naona hapo wale tulikuwa nao wamepona, na mimi the only nimeteseka every time hospitali, sisi na wewe, but itakuwa sawa. But you have tried. Takushukuru umejaribu, but naona kama will not make it. After 1 hour akaanza kupass out.
Sad moments in the ICU bed. She was suffering. She was really suffering, and hata sijui how to explain the feeling.
2 days into the new year, Noel, who was the sole breadwinner of her family, took her last breath, plunging her family into a dark and an uncertain place, one they say they did not know how to maneuver. Her death brings to 22 the total number of civilians' lives lost in that attack. 9 terrorists were eliminated by security forces. And as the family prepares to lay her to rest on Saturday in Nandi County, they say they have forgiven the perpetrators of the attack, but they will not forget. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
And we say pole sana to the family of Noel and the others who lost their loved ones, even some here in our own company. Meanwhile, the government says that terrorism still remains a threat to the country's national security following fresh attacks orchestrated by Al-Shabaab militants. Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i says that the biggest impediment in dealing with the matter is weak government structures within the community, which has led to collusion between members of the public and the terrorists. NTV's Kevin Mutai also reports that the government has suspended the issuance of firearm dealership licenses.
From the Cabinet Secretary for Interior to his Principal Secretary, the Inspector General of Police and other leaders in various security organs converged for the annual review and planning conference. The war on terror and drug trafficking topped the agenda, with the government announcing the implementation of a new strategy and more resources to win the fight.
We must decimate terrorism as we know it, and we must now take our war against terrorism to the next level. We must make it painful. We will intensify the war against drugs and organized crime, especially white-collar crime.
According to Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, challenges facing the security apparatus in fighting terrorism include lack of cooperation and collusion by local communities with terrorist elements.
We will clean up, and when we are doing this, we will not distinguish between the terrorists and those who harbor them. Because those who give sanctuary to terrorists, whether they are citizens of our country or wherever they are equally criminals. And we will deal with them as such, without regard to anything. And we will not be intimidated by any form of pressure, political or otherwise.
In another security move, the government has taken action in securing all illegal firearms across the country.
We have suspended the issuance of firearm dealership licenses until the National Security Council receives our report and gives directions otherwise.
The number of firearm dealers have been reduced from 33 to 15 who are licensed. The Ministry of Interior intends on improving citizen services such as the issuance of birth certificates and passports to ensure the ministry has a record of all identities. The Cabinet Secretary has called on the public to forward details of any corrupt dealings involving these documents.
The security organs have vowed to tighten their grip in the fight against terrorism and drug trafficking in the country, with the government setting aside more resources that will be channeled towards this initiative. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
And perhaps in a related move, the Nation Breaking News handle on Twitter is reporting that 61 police bosses have been moved in a major reshuffle affecting Nairobi, Western and Northeastern regions, a majority appointed as sub-county police commanders. Just to repeat that, 61 police bosses moved in a major reshuffle affecting Nairobi, Western and Northeastern regions, majority of them being appointed as sub-county police commanders. That's perhaps in connection with the latest move in the security sector, and that's reported by the Nation Breaking News desk. Now, to other developments of the day, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya has directed new KCC to buy milk from farmers at 33 shillings per litre, up from 25 shillings, in a move aimed at boosting the dairy sector. Munya kick-started his first day of handling the agriculture docket by, among other things, addressing the cries and moans of dairy farmers over poor prices. And as NTV's Lilian Kiaria reports, the directive, which some say bears political tones, is expected to shake up the dairy sector.
In the last few months, the prices farmers fetch for selling their raw milk to processors has dropped. This has been occasioned by oversupply coupled with lack of cold storage facilities. This has forced many farmers to use their milk for domestic purposes, to give it away or even pour it. Further, with cheaper imports from Uganda flooding the market, most farmers have been left struggling to get a market for their produce, thus incurring losses. State milk processor New KCC has become the platform for what sources say is partly a political move.
Naamuru shirika la New KCC kupandisha bei ya maziwa saa hii waanze kununulia wakulima kwa shilingi 33.
New KCC and other processors such as Brookside Dairies have been buying milk from farmers at between 19 to 25 shillings per litre.
Moving forward, as we do the other interventions, the prices will even improve and further.
New KCC says it will not increase shelf prices and therefore has to work out how to cover its cost without transferring the burden to Mwananchi, more so with cheaper imports already eating into their share market.
The forces of supply and demand will still kick in. So this is not a static price that milk will be bought at a 3. There are many other players in the dairy sector. Every processor in this country will have their own pricing. They will react to this.
The new move is expected to shake up the market as farmers are likely to supply the product to New KCC as it has the fairest prices. This, the government hopes, will see other processors reduce their prices. The state is betting on New KCC's upgraded value addition equipment to handle the expected increase in supply.
We will be mopping up excess milk and processing to powder milk and putting it into the strategic food reserve.
CSS Munya's entry as the new cabinet secretary in charge of agriculture will see him addressing some of the pressing issues such as the restructuring of KTDA, the revival of KPCU, and woes facing farmers such as tea farmers, coffee and sugar farmers. Lilian Kiarie, NTV.
The judiciary is once again on the spot. This time, it's over allegations that it mishandled a custodial case involving a minor in Mwingi after a video went viral seemingly showing a child unwillingly being handed over to her mother as she clung to her father. Lawyers representing the child's father are appealing the decision, as Mel Miendo reports.
The Mwingi child custody case is still spinning in the courts of justice after the viral video of the 9-year-old child clinging on to her father, rejecting her mother when the court handed her over to her mother. The judiciary stated that both parents had been given equal legal custody and that no appeal was filed. In a rejoinder, however, the child's father, Eric Muyanga, through his lawyers, disagrees.
Contrary to what the judiciary said in their statement, there's actually an application that was filed on 10th of January 2020, seeking to review.
In a statement, the lawyers argued that the issue was actual custody of the child, which was awarded to the mother, despite the fact that it had been proven that she has been absent from the child's life for over 9 years. The court had maintained in its statement that the September 12, 2019 decision was in the best interest of the child, but lawyers representing the child's father are not convinced. They accuse the court of not shielding the child from public exposure, hence subjecting her to humiliation. The judiciary's statement that the child lived with her paternal grandparents has also been negated by the lawyers, who state that the child lived with her father. It is their opinion that the minor was handled in a ruthless manner. The application will now be heard in court on 12th February 2020. Mel Miendo, NTV.
From Mwingi to Mwiki area here in Nairobi, where residents for 3 days have been demonstrating over the poor state of roads there. They say the heavy rainfall has made the roads impassable, a situation similar to other roads within the capital and across the country. But the government says the deterioration of roads was, get this, caused by people and had little to do with the poor workmanship and the weather. NTV's Silas Apollo reports.
For a better part of Wednesday, Mwiki area in Nairobi was a scene of running battles between residents and the police. The bone of contention is the poor state of roads in the area, which they say have become impassable. For these residents, matters have been worsened by the heavy rains that have been witnessed in the country for the past months.
We must fight for our rights. Yeah. The government is messing around, Uhuru is messing around, Raila is messing around, MCAs are sleeping, MP is
Tumekuwa na mvua muda mrefu, na hiyo imesababisha barabara yetu imetokana na yote.
Tunataka ya kwamba haki yetu isikike, na ndio kwa maana tunasema Uhuru Kenyatta, ukuje mashinani, sisi ndio tulikuchagua. Ukuje mashinani, utupatie barabara. Sisi hatutaki pesa, hatutaki ati mambo ya BBI, sisi tunataka haki yetu.
The area youth was still on the roads demonstrating even after nightfall, but no police are on the ground, leaving the security situation volatile. Earlier in the day, they were pulling a cart with what they said was the body of a man killed in the skirmishes. Across the city center, things are the same. Take, for instance, this road behind the Samia Business Park, which already has potholes even before completion. The drainage system also clogs up when it rains, rendering the road almost impassable, according to residents. Last year, Transport CS James Masharia said the government had blacklisted some 15 contractors over poor workmanship, but even this has not helped matters.
Those about 15 contractors, as long as we are in office, they will never get work from the government of Kenya.
Across the city, residents have complained of traffic snarl-ups as a result of the deplorable state of the roads. The situation caused congestions on the roads, with commuters forced to use alternative roads. Some say the dilapidated roads have led to a rise in accidents, insecurity, as well as huge losses to business operators. But the Kenya Urban Roads Authority insists that the problem is man-made.
Most of these roads were not really constructed for the amount of traffic they are currently carrying. So what I can say is that they have outlived actually their lives. They need to be upgraded, they need to be reconstructed to be able to hold the volumes of traffic they are carrying.
Silas Apollo, NTV.
And we will stay the course on those dilapidated roads until something is done. New Agriculture CS Peter Munya has today found himself in a pickle after he was questioned by journalists on whether Kenyans should continue sending pictures of Locust to him and his ministry for identification, as his predecessor Mwangi Kiunjuri had requested. His response?
Tuwezi kuambia Wakenya wasipige picha. Kenyans are very robust and they are also very active. So but we are telling you that scientific responses to the problem is being enhanced to deal with the situation.
So I guess remain robust on the locusts. That's not the main story. We will have the developments on the locust invasion after this short break. Stay with us.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute, boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology. to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Eldoret Technical Training Institute, ETTI, is a student-centered institution offering competency-based training and market-driven courses at higher diploma, and certificate level. Registration for January, May, and September 2020 intakes is ongoing in the following programs: Building and Civil Engineering, Business Administration and Commerce, Agriculture and Animal Health, Travel, Tourism and Hospitality Management, Education, Social Studies, Information Communication Technology, Accounting, Banking and Finance, Medical and Health Sciences, Journalism and Mass Communication. Apply now. SMS your details to the numbers on your screen. Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Growing reputation.
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more.
Lipa na M-Pesa.
More convenience.
Do more with M-Pesa.
More ease. More flexibility. And now you can win apartments, tractors with extras, plus surprise gifts to 8 customers every minute. Make payments via M-Pesa Buy Goods or Pay Bill. Every 100 shillings spent on Lipa na M-Pesa earns you an entry into the draw. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.
Every day, NTV News Team moves you to the center of the action.
The security forces who took part in this operation.
Police are not taking anything to chance.
Moves you to the heart of the story to witness and record history.
Rendering the declared results null and void.
Telling the story of Kenya.
The growing importance of border in Mandera.
Matatus will be on strike.
And beyond.
The politics in the United States capital.
It is the 7th edition of the Global Education taking place in Dubai.
When it comes to business, we crunch the numbers and unpack the detail with the latest information for your investment decision.
It's time to say goodbye to this note and karibu to this note.
In order for the manufacturing sector to be elevated from the ground.
Despite the government's promise to create at least 1.3 million jobs.
Moves you fast past the planes and trucks to bring you the triumphs and joys of our great men and women.
Moving stories that touch our hearts.
I didn't know that I could go back to school.
The Back to School program has brought hope to these young mothers.
NTV News. News that moves you.
Joey's back.
Yeah.
Richard mshangaza. Yaani hata hana test ya wanawake. Itakuwa vigumu sana kuacha Max.
Umwongea na mamako kunihusu?
Siwe ni mpenzi wangu.
Hivi wataka kuacha? Max ni mwanaume.
Max ni ule mwanaume lakini Richard.
Oh, come on, V.
Unaoniambia wewe mimi naona yananichangaza.
Kwa hivyo uniamini?
Mimi sijui niamini lipi na niamini nani.
Sawa, ushahidi ndio hapa.
Sonia yampenda Jabali kiasi.
Yale wayaita mapenzi, ule wake
litauzwa. Nisipoliuza mimi, mtu mwingine atalinunua na huyo mtu mwingine pia atakuja kufurusha. Mbona nyinyi hamsikii maneno nikiwaambia?
Hawa kinajiwe wamekwambia nini haswa kimekufanya uje unikosee mimi adabu hapa?
Mzazi asimtakia mema mwanae, si mzazi mwema.
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more.
Lipa na M-Pesa.
Every 100 shillings spent on Lipa na M-Pesa earns you an entry into the draw. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.
Welcome back to NTV Tonight. The fate of the more than 1,500 children under the Child Welfare Society of Kenya remained in limbo several months after the conduct of the management was called into question. The courts have now reinstated Irene Mureithi with full benefits, and a probe into her conduct directed in September last year has since been forgotten. NTV has learned from reliable sources that certain individuals within the State Law Office and other highly placed persons might be aiding Mureithi in her attempts to stay in authority and cover up her mess. Zainab Ismail looks at the parasitic infection feeding off orphans and vulnerable Kenyan children.
Irene Mureithi should leave. Who is protecting Irene? Why are we protecting her? A single individual tormenting children.
The question on the lips of many, and that has remained unanswered. CWSK CEO Irene Mureithi is like the stain that just won't go away. A cabinet directive in September 2019, which called for a probe into the operations of the Child Welfare Society of Kenya on allegations of child rights abuses and misappropriation of public funds, has been frustrated at every turn. Mureithi launched an onslaught against a newly appointed board of directors and a technical committee that was to look into the allegations through the courts.
We have a rogue management where that they are now using children as a shield to continue, behaving in a manner there is no accountability.
The series of court cases have thrown the state corporation into a dizzy spin and grounded its operations to a halt. Now the 1,500 children in the homes have been left to their own devices. Mureithi was sent on compulsory leave in October 2019 to pave way for investigations, but for her, leaving the organization she has led for over 17 years is not an option. Now she has been reinstated by the courts, and the bank accounts which are at the center of corrupt dealings have been unfrozen. Mureithi is now free to do as she pleases. Our sources have informed us that children are suffering in the homes, not going to school and being poorly fed. But those in authority, including patron President Uhuru Kenyatta, seem to have turned a deaf ear. The Child Welfare Society of Kenya was established in 1955 as an approved society. Back then, it was supported by volunteers and employees of both the probation department of the government and the local authorities. Mama Ngina Kenyatta, wife of the late President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, once served as its patron. In 2014, it was gazetted as a state corporation with President Kenyatta as the patron. Since then, the organization has been receiving funding to the tune of billions of shillings from the public coffers. NTV can authoritatively confirm that the monies have been misappropriated in tender and procurement scams, riddled with deceit and conflict of interest. For now, Irene walks head up and larger than life, enjoying protection from individuals in high places. But for the minors, it is an everyday cry for help, in the hope that someone will stand up for them. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
NTV is ready to stand by that story. The national government has released an additional 230 million shillings to support the efforts to curb the locust invasion that continues to wreak havoc across several counties. However, experts warn that the threat is potentially a greater one. Anita Nkonge reports.
The destructive impact of the swarms of locusts that have been wreaking havoc in farms in various counties continues. Experts are now warning that closer monitoring needs to be done in order to prevent an even more ominous threat.
Already, we are having a swarm that is capable of laying eggs, and they may have laid maybe in Mandera. However, they'll keep moving as they are being disturbed. So people should also look for the nymphs to be able to target them, because those ones are limited in movement. And because they are limited in movement, it's much easier to kill them.
Despite this, the government is confident.
The government is in control of the situation, as most of the swarms have been controlled, and the remaining 5 swarms are being monitored very closely. However, Kenyans should remain vigilant and immediately report any new swarms sighted.
The state had indicated that it needed 254 million shillings to contain the situation and had already received a 50 million shillings pledge from the Food and Agricultural Organization.
And that million has just been released from the treasury to support operations.
The situation potentially paints a grim picture for the country's food situation.
Worst case scenario, if we don't manage them well, it would mean that our food security situation will be grave. Most of the crop will be cleared. But if they moved on, then we are expecting that the small-scale farmer who is affected by, who uses irrigation will be affected, and they'll not have food for the future.
Counties and farmers have been encouraged to act even as they wait for the government to step in.
Farmers are reporting. It's not just a matter of taking pictures and sending. The county governments could enable the farmers by telling them what chemicals to use. Then they should be able to spray themselves, apart from waiting for the government to come and spray. Because when we wait for them, they are increasing, they are growing, they are going to mature, and they are going to swarm and move on.
FAO says that more swarms of locusts are expected, and some are already moving north of Mount Kenya westwards to the Rift Valley, specifically Baringo County and onto Turkana County. Others are predicted to head on along the Ethiopian border. It is now a race against time as Kenyans wait to see whether the battle against the growing swarm of locusts will be won. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
Meanwhile, the government is set to pump 41.9 billion shillings to bridge the gap in the health sector so as to ensure more Kenyans benefit from universal health care. Outgoing Health CS Cicely Kariuki said this as she presided over the second cohort of governors who signed the agreement, which now demands counties to allocate 30% of their budget to health. So far, 11 counties have signed an agreement with the Ministry of Health to scale up universal health care. NTV's Helen Aura with more.
When the Jubilee government took power for the second term, one of its key pillars was to provide affordable health care for Kenyans. This dream came to fruition last year when President Uhuru Kenyatta launched a universal healthcare pilot program in 4 counties. At least 3.2 million Kenyans were estimated to be beneficiaries of the pilot program rolled out in Kisumu, Nyeri, Isiolo and Machakos counties.
The pilot program, which happened in Machakos, Kisumu, Isiolo and Nyeri, has been increased, has seen us witness an increase of utilization in services ranging from 20 up to 50% across the 4 counties. And this increase demonstrates the use of health services or access of health services by most Kenyans who oftentimes would not access health care because of their financial constraint.
The counties of Narok, Kiambu, Elgeyo Marakwet and Kajiado were the latest to sign. More counties are expected to sign the agreement to scale up universal healthcare in the country. The move will give support for the national government and create more employment avenues as thousands of interns will be deployed in health facilities in the counties to increase workforce.
The national government commits to supplement county allocations for the supply of essential medicines and medical supplies, which include lab commodities, to be made available to public health facilities in Kenya through the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority.
Kariuki also stated that the National Hospital Insurance Fund Board has convened a meeting following a directive by the President to hold implementation of proposed changes in the fees and structure of NHIF benefits. Helen Aura, NTV.
From that initiative to heal the nation to a demand to secure the same, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers Union, KUPPET, now wants teachers from the northeastern and parts of the coastal regions trained and armed for their own safety against terrorists. Excuse me. They also want at least 2 police officers in all public schools deployed to provide security round the clock, as well as have a sufficient number of KDF officers stationed at settlements with non-local teachers. The Teachers Service Commission has also been urged to rotate teachers from the region every 2 years instead of 5 years for newly employed teachers. This comes 3 days after 3 teachers from Kamude Boarding Primary School in Garissa County lost their lives after they were attacked by Al-Shabaab militants. 1 teacher was injured and rushed to Garissa Referral Hospital. The teachers were attacked at night when they were asleep. The school has been closed and the teachers given compassionate leave.
Those teachers who have gained experience and they come from such regions, should now be transferred by the Teacher Service Commission to ensure that education in Northern Kenya is not compromised.
Walimu ambao walioko hizi sehemu waweze kupewa bunduki, hao wenyewe wawe kama police reservists. Yes. Na hii si ajabu, hapa mbeleni tunasema kwamba askari wa kawaida wapewe bunduki. Walimu wapitie training ya bunduki na wote wawe na bunduki. Ndiyo tuweze kuwa na ulinzi kuanzia kwa mwalimu mwenyewe mpaka kwa ile surrounding yake, sababu tumegundua kwamba hata polisi wanaogopa kutoka usiku wakijua kwamba Al-Shabaab wanakuja.
And from the courts, Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko will have to wait at least 11 more days for his pre-trial hearing to start. During today's court session, the defense and the prosecution clashed over which direction the hearing should proceed. The ruling of another High Court case involving Governor Sonko is scheduled to be heard before Justice John Onyego next week. This is according to State Prosecutor James Kihara, who asked the court to defer the matter until next Wednesday. However, Cecil Miller, who is representing the governor, told the court, no information was provided to them on the matter. The court has directed that the matter is mentioned before Magistrate Douglas Ogoti to determine the way forward. The pretrial is set to start on the 27th of this month. It's 40 minutes past the hour. Business news is after the break.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute, boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
I am pleased by just the simple little things of life. And I promise if you take the time, you won't be looking for too long before you find this little secret of mine.
Time for business. In his maiden assignment since being confirmed as the new cabinet secretary for the National Treasury, Ukur Yatani has promised to right the economic wrongs of his predecessors through a raft of expenditure-cutting measures, which he says will be brutal and sustained. Victor Kiprop reports.
After 3 years of massive borrowing and spending on mega infrastructure projects that have plunged the country deep in debt, the government appears to be finally admitting its blunders.
The area that we keep on spending outside the budget, when we do not have the ability to finance our own activities, is long gone.
Part of those blunders has been the overemphasis on mega infrastructure projects funded largely through borrowing without due regard for viable return on investment.
Gone are the days when on a ad hoc basis that we undertake projects without careful planning, particularly in terms of returns. And we strike a balance between short-term projects with immediate outcomes and avoid putting too much emphasis on large, long-term projects with delayed benefits.
With the country's public debt levels having crossed the 6 trillion shillings mark in 2019, the government's growing appetite for loans and how it procures them has also been a concern.
It is high time that we pay close attention on the debt and proportions over debt positions, so that we have to move away from commercial debts to concessional, with a view of retiring those expensive ones and having only those ones we have to.
In the current financial year, the National Treasury has already revised the revenue collections target from 1.81 trillion shillings to 1.7 trillion shillings, a figure that it says is near realistic. Like his predecessor Henry Rotich, who failed in his attempt to lower the country's budget financing gap to 3.5% of GDP, Ukur Yatani's ambitious fiscal consolidation plan will only be tested by time. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business.
Tea farmers have welcomed the President's directive to the Competition Authority of Kenya and the Ministry of Agriculture to smoke cartels out of the tea sector in a bid to boost farmers' welfare. Melita Oletenges with the details.
A day after President Uhuru Kenyatta ordered the competition watchdog and the Ministry of Agriculture to investigate cases of conflict of interest among the KTDA directors, tea farmers are all smiles.
Chunguze hiyo mambo ya hiyo majani chai ya kila kitu. Si ako na wezo, si ako na wadogo wake. Si ndio wale watachunguza hiyo maneno yote. Alafu warudishe.
And it is fair because we are becoming tired. The clothes are becoming torn when we are tuning that majani.
In his statement, President Kenyatta also directed the Ministry of Agriculture through KTDA to pay farmers at least 50% of their earnings every month and the balance be paid at the end of the year as bonus.
Malalamiko mapesa, makufanya kazi, hata Kenya yetu, hii wa mama, hata nguo sina, tunaweka nguo, yote inararuka, hata kununua ingine, haoni.
Mimi naendaga kutafuta kibarua, na mwenye majani akikosa pesa, si hata mimi nimekosa.
In October last year, KTDA announced that it will be paying farmers a total of 46 billion for the year 2018-2019, a 25% drop compared to 62 billion shillings paid in the 2017-2018 financial year.
Mwaka huu unapewa na 30, mwaka ingine 40, mwaka ingine inatoka chini. Sasa ukiangalia shilingi 15 inaweza nunua nini?
Though the president's statement bears hope for the farmers, many of them say they will only believe it when they see it. Melita Oletenges, NTV.
Investors in the capital markets have once again been asked to exercise caution when considering participating in initial coin offerings. Initial coin offerings are avenues through which entities raise capital from investors through issuance of coins known as cryptocurrencies. The Capital Markets Authority says such offerings are prone to fraud, which could see investors lose their money. In January 2019, CMA warned investors against the Kenny Coin initial coin offering, which was being offered by Wiseman Talent Ventures. The government is on a mission to streamline the licensing requirements borne by micro, small and medium-sized businesses. The latest initiative is being undertaken in Kitui County, as Alex Mwangi reports.
A review of the National Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise Policy is underway, 15 years since the last comprehensive review was undertaken. A government team is in Kitui to engage traders and upscale their understanding of what's on offer for them in the review set to be complete by the end of March.
Lakini sasa tumeelezewa ya kwamba kuna mahali ambapo tunaweza kupata pesa za kuinua biashara zetu na vile tunaweza kuendelesha.
The government acknowledges that micro, small and medium enterprise traders face bureaucratic hurdles in their quest to obtain trading licenses.
We have realized that there are a number of regulatory bodies. So in the process, that also adds up to the cost of doing business. At the same time also, it increases the length of actually being able to implement.
MSMEs are reported to employ 75% of Kenyans, but only contribute about 30% of the GDP. Regulatory bottlenecks are known to discourage some from plunging into startups.
Remember, if somebody wants to start a business, he has capital, and then he's told, come today, come tomorrow, go to this organization. There's a possibility he will use the same capital to do other things.
Besides seeking to learn about financial prudence in handling their businesses, the traders have concerns about taxes.
There should be a system of making sure the taxes are, reviewed and studied, analyzed properly to make sure they are being taxed rightly in order to be able to make a business.
The government is yet to find a suitable way of effectively taxing the MSME sector, even as the imposition of the turnover tax and the presumptive tax continues to elicit a heated public discourse. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
4 years after French retail firm Carrefour, yes, Carrefour, not Carrefour, entered the Kenyan market, it has spread its footprint to Uganda, signaling Kenya's pivotal position as a gateway to the East and Central African market. The new outlet in Uganda marks the 306th store for Carrefour in the region, spanning the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. Carrefour is owned by Majid Al Taim, one of the largest retail chains globally. The new Carrefour branch in Kampala is expected to employ 130 Ugandans, besides engaging the services of 260 local suppliers and at least 50 international suppliers. Carrefour is steadily expanding its presence in Kenya and is set to open the 8th branch in the country where, as you can see in the pictures, Nakumatt Mega along Uhuru Highway used to exist. Let's close the business bulletin with a look at the financials.
Do your gums hurt?
Yeah.
Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Look at this. And this. So this? Why is this so? The culture of good driving and road safety starts with attending the right driving school and receiving the right driving instructions. Now you know. AA Kenya.
Register today for your driving classes. Dial *650#.
For 100 years now, AA has walked with you throughout the journey. Automobile Association of Kenya. You never drive alone.
Your multi-bet is on its way to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know? We've steered over 500,000 youth across the continent to brighter futures. Absa Group, serving Kenya as Barclays.
Welcome back into some international news just before we get into the sports. President Vladimir Putin, that's Russian President Vladimir Putin, has proposed a little-known head of Russia's tax service, Mikhail Mishustin, for the post of prime minister following the resignation of his entire cabinet. The move by the now former cabinet came after President Putin proposed a shake in the country.
Someone donating their hat to Bernard Ojwang there.
Welcome to NTV Today.
You are just in time.
The live link will be done by Muledan, and sports has a lot to be shown. And Sean Cardovillis,
keeping you up to date with all you need to know as and when it happens.
It's not been a very good morning in the country. We've had a very grisly accident.
In clear context to all the relevant issues.
Reacquire the property they've gotten with our looted money and save this country for my child and daughter Teko and the many children.
From our studios to the ground where the action is.
Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Registration for January, May and September 2020 intakes is ongoing. Apply now. Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Growing reputation.
Your multi-bet is on its way to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Of a high quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
Hayo unaoniambia wewe mimi naona yananichanganya sasa.
Kwa hivyo uniamini?
Mimi sijui niamini lipi na niamini nani.
Sawa, ushahidi ndio hapa.
Sonia yampenda Jabali kiasi.
Yale wayaita mapenzi, ule wake ni wivu. Sasa mambo ya kumpenda Jabali, na kumchukia huyu Fadhili, yaingilia napi kwa pisini mambo mawili tofauti.
Hili shamba litauzwa. Nisipoliuza mimi, mtu mwingine atalinunua na huyo mtu mwingine pia atakuja tufurusha. Mbona nyinyi hamsikii maneno nikiwaambia?
Hawa kinajiwe wamekwambia nini haswa kimekufanya uje unikosee mimi adabu hapa?
Mzazi asimtakia mema mwanae, si mzazi mwema.
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more.
Lipa na M-Pesa.
Every 100 shillings spent on Lipa na M-Pesa earns you an entry into the draw. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.
Joey's back.
Yeah.
Richard mshangaza. Yaani hata hana test ya wanawake. Itakuwa vigumu sana kuacha Max.
Umwongea na mamako kunihusu?
Siwe ni mpenzi wangu. Hivi wataka kuacha? Max ni mwanaume. Max ni ule mwanaume lakini Richard.
Oh, come on, V.
kupika kila mtu ajipikie yake. Na vyombo za nani? Kwa nani?
Am I not getting some?
Ice cream ya wageni. Wewe nitakuletea maji kwa jikoni.
A girl's gotta eat to keep up with you, Mr. Guns.
Well, that's absolutely correct.
This festive season, get a decoder with subscription at an unbelievable festive offer of only 1,499 shillings. You can also pay 1 month and enjoy 2 weeks free on a higher bouquet. For more information, call 0719 077 077.
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
NTV Sport in association with Mozart Bet. SMS NTV to 29990.
A very good evening to you. It is time to play. Welcome to NTV Sport. I am Warote Kiru. The national men's basketball team, the Kenya Morans, thrashed Tanzania 95-59 in the second FIBA Afro Basketball pre-qualifiers played this evening at the Nyayo National Stadium Indoor Gymnasium. The Morans' stingy defense held Tanzania to 0 points in the first quarter while registering 18 points for themselves. Tanzania, who traveled by road in order to participate in the round-robin tournament, was short-handed with only one player on the bench filling the rotation slot. In the earlier kickoff, South Sudan walloped Eritrea 111-57 and Burundi outclassed Somalia 106-86. Tomorrow, Kenya will play Somalia at 6:30 p.m. with Burundi facing South Sudan at 4:15 p.m. Eritrea get the ball rolling against Tanzania at 2 p.m. After missing the action for slightly over 1 year, talismanic player Collins Injera will have a chance to boost his try score at the World Rugby Series at the Hamilton Sevens leg. Shuja's squad to the Hamilton and Sydney Sevens legs has been named, with KCB's Geoffrey Okwach given a series debut call-up, with Herman Humwa also called in as a replacement. Kenya's record try scorer in the World Rugby Series, Collins Injera, has made a return to the national Sevens team squad for the World Series. Injera, who missed out on the first 2 legs this season due to injury and all of last season due to a contractual dispute with the Kenya Rugby Union, has made the squad for the Hamilton and Sydney legs. Handed his series debut is KCB's Geoffrey Okwach, who emerged as a joint top try scorer at the 2019 Safari Sevens. The third change to the team that did tour last time out is Herman Humwa.
We are trying to build a team, and for us to be able to build that team is to give everybody a chance. You see, we are giving chances to, like Okwach is getting his first chance to be in the circuit. And we are bringing also Collins back. He's a very experienced player. His knowledge will be able to assist us to be able to perform well.
Ahead of the tour down under, the team under coach Paul Finney and assistant coach Kevin Bling Wambua trained for 3 days in Nakuru County.
So we're trying to replicate the environment we're going to. In New Zealand and Sydney, there's a bit of sunshine, and that's the exact weather that is down in Nakuru.
At the Hamilton leg, the Andrew Amonde captained team is in Pool B alongside South Africa, England and Japan.
It's a tough pool. If you look at all the pools at the moment with this current format, there's no easy game.
So we'll keep on aiming higher. We'll keep on building from having Collins coming back. So our targets will be getting to more than what we did in Cape Town.
The team departs for Hamilton, New Zealand on Saturday. Defending champions Gor Mahia thrashed Chemelil Sugar 4-0 in Kisumu to close the gap between themselves and leaders at Tusker FC in the Kenyan Premier League. Samuel Daddy Onyango scored twice on either side of the half, while Boniface Omondi and Nicholas Kipkirui were also on target. The result leaves Kogalo third on the log with 35 points from 15 matches, while the Brewers are first with 37 points, 10 matches.
The only way you can get back from losing is winning, and that's what we've done today, and that's what we've achieved today, you know. So I'm happy with the 3 points, and now we have a break until the 25th of January.
Nashukuru game ilikuwa mbaya, vijana wamejaribu. Kipindi cha kwanza wamekizuia, wamecheza vizuri. Kipindi cha pili kwa sababu ya match fitness wakakuja wakakrack. So siwezi kuwalaumu sana kulingana na situation wanapitia, wamejaribu.
There's a beautiful goal in that Gor Mahia's 4-0 win over Chemelil Sugar. On to golf, and Muthaiga Golf Club's Greg Snow returned an impressive score of 4 under par 67 in the last round of play to claim his third Safari Tour title of the season at his home club with a 2 over par gross 206 gross score. Snow finished 3 strokes ahead of the Tree of Golf Park's David Wahu, Great Reef's Justice Madoya, and as well as Thika Golf Club's Simon Ngige.
The 4 rounds have been really good, decent scores that I would like to be shooting, especially going into the Open. So I just need to work on keeping consistency into these 4 rounds.
Congratulations to Greg Snow. Let's talk boxing, and Tyson Fury has vowed to chase a knockout in next month's eagerly anticipated rematch with Deontay Wilder, insisting he believes he has no chance of earning a victory on points in Las Vegas. The two boxers
misuse of fans here in the country.
Someone donating their hat to Bernard Ojwang there.
Welcome to NTV Today. You are just in time. The live link will be done by Bulletin, and sports has a lot to be shown. And Sean Cardovillis,
keeping you up to date with all you need to know as and when it happens.
It's not been a very good morning in the country. We've had a very grisly accident.
In clear context to all the relevant issues.
Reacquire the property they've gotten with our looted money and save this country for my child and daughter Teko and the many children.
From our studios to the ground where the action is live.
Misuse of funds here in the country.
Someone donating their hat to Bernard Ojwang there.
welcome to NTV Today. You are just in time. The live link will be done by Bulletin, and sports has a lot to be shown. And Sean Cardovillis,
keeping you up to date with all you need to know as and when it happens.
It's not been a very good morning in the country. We've had a very grisly accident.
In clear context to all the relevant issues.
Reacquire the property they've gotten with our looted money and save this country for my child and daughter Teko and the many children.
From our studios to the ground where the action is live.
Misuse of funds here in the country.
Someone donating their hat to Bernard Ojwang there.
Thank you so much for watching. I am Warotekiru. Do have a lovely night.
NTV Sport in association with Mozart Bet. SMS NTV to 29990.
Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Always a sports world. Thank you to you and the team for wrapping up NTV tonight. And thank you to David Agondo for the sign language interpretation. Thanks for watching. Good night.